What's up, Gov Seekers? We're doing it. For some reason, the virtual background is just giving up. It's just quit. It won't work. So there's my pink dish towel. Sweet. What's up, Gov Seekers? We're doing it. For some reason, the virtual background is just giving up. It's just quit. It won't work. So. All right. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. All right. Those are all shut down. Okay. All right. Whew. You got a crazy Marine Corps haircut. Like, they went nuts. They really love cutting my hair as short as they possibly can in Asia. I think their mentality is just like, well, he's an American and they love war, so let's just give him some boot camp tastes. I think that's what they do. Hello, everybody in the chat. Like, share, subscribe. And don't forget to join us. I'll put that in the scroll. The Patreon will go right after that. Patreon.com/GovSecrets. I've got too many scrolls in my. All right, gonna make me put on reading glasses. Whatever. Here we go. We're getting this teed up, and then we're going to start the episode, and it's going to be amazing. I have way too many. I gotta get rid of some of these. There's too many. There we go. Boom. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Government Secrets 188 with the two most censored comedians in America, Lee Camp and Graham Elwa. What's up?
Hey, man. I like that we kind of give everybody the behind the scenes before the episode. Normally you're like, hang in there for some behind the scenes content.
No. We pull the curtain back on everything, Lee. That's what we do.
We had a vote going, and most people were saying if Graham has a dish towel, probably salmon colored. That was the consensus among the community.
Well, good. I'm glad the community was in alignment with my salmon-colored dish towel.
They know their shit. How's Asia? They do, man. They love to shave your head, don't they?
Man, they go bananas.
It's like a hazing ritual. They're like, oh, Graham's over here again. So I can do it up.
Yeah, welcome to Asia, foreigner. Yeah, they just I cannot. I was trying to explain, hey, just because for whatever reason, my hair grows faster on the side of my head. So it's like starts going over my ears, which drives me nuts. I like a little wavy up top. So I'm just like a little shorter in this area. And the woman, I'm in Thailand. She didn't speak English. So she just had a wall of photos. And she said, just point at one.
And it's just Kim Jong-un and Elvis. Those are your two options. And you're like, I guess I'll take the Jong-un.
I go Jong-un, baby, all day, all night. Let's do it. I live in a country that probably propagandizes its citizens more than North Korea. So why don't we do that one? So, yep. But we won't need a haircut for a while. That's for certain. So
Nope. And what you don't know is she also shaved the symbol for fucking American in the back of your head.
Yeah, I can't see it in the back. Just like, in Thailand, it's called farang. So it's probably just like stupid farang, she wrote in the back of my head. And I'm walking around, everyone's laughing at me.
Cool, man. So we got a big show. We got Mossad's involvement in the assassination of the Italian prime minister in the 70s. And we got Operation Barrel Roll, which I believe was when David Copperfield went over the Niagara Falls in a barrel.
That's absolutely correct. And he was doing intel for the CIA. That's exactly what it was.
Intel on Niagara Falls. Yeah.
David Copperfield is a CIA asset, and that's Niagara Falls is part of the deep state. So that's we're gonna uncover that scandal.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
Average
that's
Girl.
why they come here.
It's just good old fashioned CIA doing illegal bombings in Laos. I just we haven't talked about that country yet. We've done Thailand, we've done Vietnam, we've done Cambodia. We haven't talked about Laos. So.
Well, speaking of Cambodia, it's very exciting. Trump has said he's created peace between Azerbaijan and Cambodia. So, not sure if you caught that speech. It's sometimes it's Azerbaijan and Cambodia. Sometimes it's Azerbaijan and Albania. A whole bunch of countries.
So Cambodia is not at war with Azerbaijan. What is he talking about?
Nope. And it's like 6,000 miles away.
So we just pick two countries that are not at war and that are at peace, and we go, I brokered the peace. I did it.
He just spits out sounds. It's just what his name, what in his brain, it's just going, foreign shitty word is just screaming in his head. And so he just makes up something.
Well, thanks to me, I brokered the peace between North and South Dakota. I take credit for that. They were at war with each other, and I made it happen. So they're going to start making statues of me in Grand Forks and Sioux Falls or Sioux something, whatever, one of the Siouxs. And
they added you to Mount Rushmore, right? You're on the back of Lincoln's head, I think, right? Yeah,
well, that's why I had to get my haircut so shaved, because there wasn't enough room for a full head of hair, Elwood, on Rushmore, so I had to go tight.
The sculptor was like, I'm not fucking chiseling hair, all right? Just make him bald. I'm not doing it.
Give him a little
cabbie hat, a fez. How about a fez?
Just shave him down and put his dumb head up there. I don't have the time. Yeah, it's so great that we went from a president with dementia to now another one with dementia back to back, or what?
It's a new flavor of dementia is what to get. The analogies for the U.S. empire just keep coming. They don't. It's just big, flabby, orange, demented,
insane. Oh my goodness! It's
also how do you like him and his giant obese self standing there on stage while Hegseth lectures all the generals on not being fat slobs. Meanwhile, Trump's got Big Macs falling out of his sleeve,
just ketchup on his tie from curly fries or whatever, and he's just. Yeah,
he can fit he's lost a supersized French fries in his gullet fat that hangs over the top of the collar there. But it's exciting when you find it. You can't deny that.
It really is. Just listening to Pete Hogsbreath just to give that, like, these generals are turned. Several generals after that speech are like, "What are these guys talking about?"
Yeah.
Like,
what is going on here?
So. I think we should do segment number 1, Mossad of the Italians. Lee Camp, get us going.
All right, let's do it. So we have in the past covered the assassination of Italian Prime Minister Aldo Moro in 1978 is when it happened. And we have done a segment on that back in the day. It was over a year ago, probably over 2 years ago. And so everyone should go check out that episode, which is episode number. We're going to insert that later in post in the post that this show doesn't have. We're going
we're not going to go research it. We're not going to figure that out. Folks, that's your duty. And we appreciate the efforts you make on this show. But
so as I said, in episode number
boop,
that is where you can go listen to, the assassination of Aldo Moro, that many believe is connected to Operation Gladio, the Left Behind units. We've also done a full segment on them. That is, for those who didn't hear any of that, This is all connected to NATO, connected to the United States, connected to the CIA. Post World War II, they were aligned with and left arms and sometimes funding for far-right fascist groups to help keep the socialists and the communists in check. To, you know, if any socialists started succeeding in a country, somehow they ended up getting killed by far-right lunatics.
It's weird. That's a weird thing that happens every time there's like a socialist leader that's like, I want to give our resources and help my own people and bring them out of poverty. No, sir. No, sir. Like,
yeah,
we're going to take you out.
It's just a coincidence. It's usually just car crashes and planes go down, and it's just a coincidence. So,
and coups and assassinations and, you know, whatever, just stuff like that. Just happens.
Planes are 70% more likely to go down when they have a socialist on board. That's a well-known, that's just data right there. Okay. That's not an opinion or anything. Not a conspiracy.
Look, Lee, you can't make an omelet without assassinating a couple of socialists. I mean, that's just an old adage, you know?
Yeah. That goes back to the early thousands. So, veteran journalist Eric Salerno, an Italian journalist, has documented this, and it actually came out in a book in 2010 called Mossad Base Italy, but it was never translated to English, and apparently the English-speaking world had little interest in whether, I don't know, the Israeli intelligence services helped murder an Italian prime minister. Why does it matter, right? Moro, who was arguably Italy's most important leader, became a thorn in the side of, this is from Gray Zone, by the way, in the side of powerful forces who sought to keep his country firmly lodged in the pro-Western bloc. Moro was kidnapped in 1978 by the radical Brigade Rosé, Red Brigade's faction. See, I hear Rosé, I just think of wine, and so I'm already a fan of this group. No.
Are these
I'm picturing a radical group of wine drinkers. Is that not accurate?
Wine activists coming out of Europe? Is that what's happening over there? That sounds great.
God damn it. You know, Molotov cocktail in one hand, a nice rosé in the other. Oh, that's living life, my friend.
Just a rosé and then like really good French bread. They're just kind of chewing on it and just walking around.
And Molotov cocktail in the back pocket. I can take that. I'll take your brand, Graham. It's fine. So the Red Brigade's faction, in a daring and highly professional daytime operation, they kidnapped the fucking prime minister of Italy and left all but one of his bodyguards dead. He was executed 2 months later. The still unresolved case shocked the nation. The crimes bore strong similarities to those of Operation Gladio, covert effort which saw the CIA, MI6, and NATO train and direct a shadow army of fascist paramilitary units across Europe that carried out false flag terror attacks, robberies, and assassinations aimed at neutralizing the socialist left. Another possible Operation Gladio assassination of a prime minister was Olof Palme in Sweden. Moro, here's the reason Moro was disliked by certain groups, threatened to upend the traditional post-war order in Italy by forging a compromesso storico, historic compromise with the Italian Communist Party. His arrangement with the Palestinian resistance groups, likely mediated by Muammar Gaddafi, not sure if you know of that fellow, which allowed the PLO and others to smuggle weapons and travel freely through Italy in exchange for the country itself being spared from terror attacks. So he had, and it'll be mentioned again, but he had basically created a pact with Palestinian resistance that Italy wouldn't get in their way. They weren't helping them. They just wouldn't get in their way. The pact, widely believed to have been forged in 1973 when Italy secretly released a group of Palestinian fighters that sought to attack a plane belonging to Israel's El Al airline as it was departing from Rome's airport. It was spurred in large part by Italy's desire to maintain a level of independence from the U.S.-led Western Bloc, which was targeted by an oil embargo in retaliation for Washington's support of Israel in 1973. While Salerno stopped short of alleging that Mossad directly ordered the abduction and execution of Moro, he said, I think their idea was, we'll see what happens, and if it's necessary and we think it's the right time, we can help one way or another. And as you'll see in a few minutes, it seems very likely Mossad did help one way or another. For over a decade, Moro...
I'm just saying, the more we're learning about what Mossad has done, it's... I always thought, is there any more of a rogue government than the United States? And it's like, yeah, there is. It's Israel. Turns out it's Mossad. It's
like, you could have a long and interesting debate on who's more of a rogue government, the U.S. or Israel. Like, who wins in the rogue, fucking up global order, killing people, assassinating, destroying lives, changing the course of history for the worse? It'd be a good discussion.
Yeah, it'd be
nice, lively debate. You bring some cotton candy, be great.
Yeah, it'd be like a fantasy football discussion. You know what I mean?
Fantasy rogue death squad.
Fantasy road abandoning democracy, evil. Yeah, with nachos.
With nachos for over a decade. Nachos and cotton candy. That sounds like a delight. For over a decade.
And assassinations? Come on, Lee. What do you like? That's a perfect day.
You never had a cotton nacho? Oh, it's the best. Friday cotton nachos. Oh, always.
Yeah. And then you just dip it in some false flag. It's so good. It's so good.
For over a decade, the Lodo Moro deal, that was the deal with the Palestinians, insulated Italy from the violence that plagued other nations. These plots became increasingly commonplace in the region after the 1967 Six-Day War, etc. The Israelis didn't want Rome to become a satellite of the Soviet Union, and the U.S. had the same position. The country was essentially the West's front line against the Eastern Bloc. Italy bordered Yugoslavia, was not part of the Warsaw Pact, and support for communism in the Soviet Union was strong in the wake of World War II, because you got to remember Russia won World War II. So yeah, a lot of nations knew that. A lot of nations felt like they owed their freedom to the Soviet Union. So,
who bared the most biggest burden? They lost 20 to 25 million people.
Yeah. Whenever your number of how many you lost varies by a couple of million because you're not sure, that's a lot of people.
That'll give you an idea. You couldn't count them all.
Yeah. It was also kind of an aircraft carrier in the Mediterranean, which people would land on and go off to other places. So the Israel didn't like that Italy was acting as the unsinkable aircraft in the Mediterranean. They wanted to be the unsinkable aircraft in the Mediterranean for the U.S. Salerno concluded that every Italian administration since World War II had secretly aided Mossad and Israeli military intelligence. So prior to Moro's Palestinian secret deal, Italy was pretty closely aligned with Mossad and Israel. The reporter attributes the consistent pro-Israel bias of Italian intelligence to a combination of political expedience and lingering collective guilt over Rome's complicity in World War II. The traditional dynamic between Rome and Tel Aviv was challenged, though, by the Italian Christian Democrat Party, that was Moro's party, their pact with Palestinians. Within months, Israel began responding to this defiance with apparent acts of sabotage within Italy. On November 23rd, 1973, Argo 16 crashed shortly after taking off from Venice Airport, killing the entire veteran crew. An initial probe concluded the tragedy was an accident. The case was reopened in 1986. That investigation faltered as well when security and intelligence officials refused to testify and withheld evidence. However, the judge, Carlo Mastaloni, told Salerno there was no doubt based on objective evidence that the plane's downing was Israel's dirty work. So Israel was crashing airplanes in Italy because Italy was no longer aligned with Mossad and Israel. Argo 16 sabotage was not the only retaliation for the release of the arrested Palestinians. Italy had arrested some Palestinians and released them, but a warning over Italy's concessions to Tel Aviv's enemies, he stated. Still, the Lodo Moro Pact continued to hold. When a hand grenade was lobbed at Milan's police headquarters in May 1973, killing 4 civilians and injuring 45, you don't see a lot of good hand grenade attacks recently. Where'd all the hand grenades go? They're all on like little trophy shelves now.
I wouldn't give anyone any ideas.
Graham, what's the answer? Graham pulls a blanket over his trophy shelf.
It'd be salmon colored.
Yeah, salmon colored blanket. However, subsequent investigations revealed the perpetrator, named Bertoli, to be a longtime Italian military intelligence informant, as well as a member of numerous neo-fascist organizations, including Gladio-linked New Order. So, Operation Gladio was hurling grenades at Milan's police headquarters. Bertoli had spent the 2 years leading up to the attack residing off and on in a kibbutz in Israel. So he's linked to Operation Gladio, but he's also linked to Israel. Such incidents prompted Salerno to ask, was the Mossad part of the strategy of tension? Mossad had decided to transfer the Middle Eastern conflict to Italy, he concluded, driven by the aim of political and social destabilization. Israel's purpose was to induce America to see Israel as the only allied point of reference on the Mediterranean and thus gain greater political and military support. So like I said earlier, Italy was one of the kind of battleships the U.S. was using in their Cold War against the Soviet Union. And basically, Israel wanted that to be them. But also, in order to achieve that, it wasn't just prove we're big and tough. It was create horrible instability in Italy. How do you do that? Well, you lob some grenades at police stations and you ultimately help assassinate the prime minister. During his march...
I was just going to say play loud music and have late night parties. But all right, if you want to do grenades and assassinations, I guess...
You know, it's quite possible if you'd been around there, Graham... around then, they would have taken that advice. You know, it's just too bad you weren't in those think tanks putting that forward. Like, what about loud music? What about oh, your favorite, Graham? What about tax on their seats when they sit down?
See, that's, you got to think. I'm a tack guy. I'm a whole, you know what I mean?
He's a converted tack guy now, and tax are the solution to most problems, I find.
I've become a tack maximalist, a tack maxi.
A taximalist.
I was so enamored with your new technology lead that I've embraced it. It's
like there's anything these little sharp pieces of metal can't do.
It's like aliens. There's nothing. They can do anything. They can do anything.
I can pin up my butterfly collection. I got my ex-wife to leave. It does everything. Couple of tacks in the bed can do anything. For those of you who are new listeners and have no idea what we're talking about, Graham discovered what a tack is several episodes back, and you can go listen to that episode. It's episode beep.
Yeah, probably about 2 years ago.
We'll insert that episode here in post.
We like our audience to do their own sort of research and editing. It keeps you guys on your toes. If we have to do too much of that, it muddles up the whole message.
Well, also it would greatly facilitate a better promoted show that got people to listen to more episodes, and we don't want that. We fought very hard against people possibly, like binge listening. So
But we're doing a show at 7 in the morning in California as we really just fucking.
That's the prime time, Graham.
A sweet spot, buddy. That is fucking.
Okay, let's see. During a March 1999 testimony to Parliament, Red Brigade's fighter, Alberto Franceschini, stated the group was approached by the Mossad in April 1974. The Mossad made a disturbing proposition to finance his group, stating that rather than seeking to control the Red Brigades, Israel sought only to ensure the group continued to operate. Basically, we'll fund you. No, we're not gonna force you to do things. But guess what? You can force groups to do things just by providing them with intel or false intel. So it's not like Mossad had to say, go assassinate the prime minister. They could do other things. The notion of a potential Israeli hand in shaping the Moro plot or hindering efforts to resolve it peacefully, you got to remember he was kidnapped for 55 days before he was assassinated, is bolstered by statements from a number of influential Italian politicians, which also indicate Israel both co-financed and influenced the group, which took credit for killing Moro. 1998, Giuseppe De Gori, a lawyer connected to the trials, told a parliamentary commission on terrorism that Mossad had always controlled the Red Brigades without formally infiltrating the group. Israeli intel hated the anti-Zionist Moro and began taking advantage of its ability to smuggle information to the Red Brigades, which could influence their actions. As the lawyer explained, there was no need for Mossad to directly penetrate the Red Brigades. De Gori hinted the group's decision to kill Moro after almost 2 months in captivity. So you got to figure if he's in captivity for 2 months, then killing him was not their plan. If killing him was your plan, you would do that rather quickly, if not immediately within the first few days. Because keeping someone kidnapped while the authorities may or may not be looking for you or likely are looking for you, that's not easy. You got to, keep moving around, be secretive, not flee the country. There's a lot going on. And so that means that their initial goal was not execution. And then they're pushed to execution. And why was that? Well, De Gori hinted the group's decision to kill Moro after almost 2 months captivity resulted from such indirect Israeli intervention, while Italian government officials refused any negotiation with his kidnappers. At a private meeting in May 1978, elements within the Christian Democrats, Moro's party, proposed independently brokering a deal to secure Moro's release. Moro was killed immediately afterwards, so someone must have been there who reported this news, De Gori testified. In 2002, the lawyer told an author that Mossad made Moro's execution a fait accompli by enlisting the services of a skilled forger to fabricate a letter from the Red Brigades to authorities in mid-April 1978. The communique claimed that Moro was already dead. After that, Moro could no longer be saved. So they basically, and it seems likely Mossad did it, faked a letter from the kidnappers to the authorities saying Moro was dead. And at that point, of course, the government is going to shift from any attempts to get him freed to a mission of just, let's see if we can catch and kill these people. And it ends any efforts to get him free because he's supposedly already dead. Also, the people point out Moro's bodyguards being executed when he was first kidnapped, being executed with just 2 weapons used by exceptionally experienced men. In addition to never being identified, these assassins displayed a level of shooting expertise no known Red Brigades operatives seemed to possess. Galoni strongly insinuated the killers were hired by Washington and or Tel Aviv. He revealed that a few months before his capture, Moro confided to him that he was worried the U.S. and Israeli secret services had infiltrated the Red Brigades. This is the part of the episode for Graham's stunned silence. So
it's just like It just keeps getting better. Bum, 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 bum.
Throughout Moro's 55 days in captivity, Italian officials declared, oh yeah, this is really interesting, declared that the state must not bend to terrorist demands, making it clear the Italian government would never negotiate with the Red Brigades nor release any of the jailed members that the Red Brigades wanted released in exchange for the prime minister. The former Italian prime minister was subsequently bundled in a car trunk, shot 10 times, and left in the vehicle in central Rome for the authorities to find. Today, many Italians view Rome's inflexible approach to the kidnapping with deep suspicion, given that the government and willingness to negotiate with terrorists both before and after Moro's murder. Magistrate Mario Sosi, who was kidnapped by the Red Brigades, purportedly prompted Mossad to approach the group. He was released. Sosi was released in 1974 after 1 month in captivity in exchange for some of the radical factions imprisoned members. So after a month, they get him released by doing what the Red Brigade wanted. When the Red Brigade kidnapped Christian Democrat politician Ciro Cirillo in April 1981, Italian authorities bargained directly with his abductors, paying a ransom for his release. So yet again, both bargaining before and after Moro's execution. That December, when the Red Brigades abducted U.S. General James Dozier, he was located and freed in a blitz by a joint U.S.-Italian task force. So you kidnap a U.S. general. Boy, did I get him free quick. Suddenly, it seems like they have quite the ability to get kidnappees freed.
That's weird. That's so weird. They just could snap. He was freed, unharmed, not a hair on his head. Huh.
During the entirety of Moro's captivity, 55 days, not a single raid was conducted.
Well, Lee, there's got so many there's kids' birthday parties. You know what I mean? There's so many stuff you got to do.
A lot on their plate. Italian beaches, they often need to be combed. Sometimes the litter, you got to pick up some litter.
There's probably some big soccer game happening. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff.
Italy has a lot of beaches. That's a lot of beach combing. People don't realize. Because sure, we could be raiding all these places trying to find the prime minister because he might be murdered soon. But then, do you have any idea how many soda pop cans got to be on the beaches? Any idea? In the dozens.
I mean, we're only so many guys. You know what I mean? I can't be 10 places at once, Lee.
No, of course not. Giucci told La Repubblica that the formal committee to rescue Mora was advised by a man sent by the U.S. Oh, good. U.S. sent to carefully handle this kidnapping.
Sure.
And composed largely of representatives of the fascist Gladio-affiliated Masonic Lodge P2. Oh, Graham, you love a good Masonic Lodge.
They're so great. They're really, especially when they're involved in assassinating a socialist. It's really when that's when I really like them.
These individuals, the Gladio-associated, U.S.-associated Masonic Lodge, wanted things to go in a different way from what all honest people were asking for and wished for Moro to be destroyed politically and physically. So Moro not popular with the fascist Gladio U.S. Masonic Lodge folks.
That's a weird.
Just not his demographic.
That's a pretty weird niche. You know what I'm saying? That group.
Yeah. Well, it needs to be running things too. Like there's a lot of weird niches, you know. There are queer Jewish witch groups that I've heard of. Lovely people, but they don't normally run things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Bitcoin leftist comedian. Like, believe me, I know about weird niches, man.
You are the Bitcoin cultist leftist in America.
That's living in Asia right now.
It's living in Asia. And may not come back depending on how high the flames are. As you if you see the flames out of your plane's window as you're coming in for a landing, maybe I'll just, you know what? I'll keep going. I'm gonna parlay this into another trip.
Folks, we can't land in America because it's on fire. We're gonna sit down in Mexico City. I'll be like, well, that's cool. I'm good.
Folks, all of the everyone at the FAA, they're living in the woods right now. They're not technically fired. They haven't been paid for 6 months. So,
folks, we don't have the money to run the radar, so we can't land without crashing. So we're going to turn this bird around and try to touch down somewhere in Guatemala. Over, but in the meantime, snacks around.
Due to the government shutdown, we only have one wing on this plane, but there's good news. We still have one wing. So that is a very positive note I'd like to focus on here. Focus on the good wing, you know?
Focus on the good wing. Folks, well, America's on fire. So those on the right side of the plane, we're going to open the windows, get your marshmallows out, have yourself a nice little marshmallow, make yourself a little s'more out there, and then we're going to try to touch down in Canada. Over. Yeah.
Folks in the plane back there, if you could pull the red tab under your seat. We don't have any gas masks because those were given away with the government shutdown, but there are marshmallows that you can toast on the wing fire. Pull that red tab, but marshmallows will come straight out. Remember to assist your child with the marshmallow after you have eaten your marshmallow, okay? You eat your marshmallow first, then assist children, please.
Folks, we're not going to be able to land because there's petulance in America because it is only America's getting raptured because it's for its past tense.
Raptured. Sorry, I misspoke. It's raptured. There are raptors loose in America. They succeeded in cloning raptors, and now they've kind of taken over. So it's rough down there. We're gonna keep flying.
Folks, there's demons running around North America, so we're just gonna kind of take a quick bypass, and we'll be down in Costa Rica on the sunny shores of Costa Rica. Temperature's 82.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up, even though I would like to. We're going to continue this bit in an extra segment after this show, though. So please join up on Patreon. Rome's government these days is, for all intents and purposes, a continuation or an extension of the old fascist regime. There are people in the government that have statues of Mussolini in their houses. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has made clear she harbors little sympathy for Palestinians and little intention of recognizing a Palestinian state, even after it was revealed in November 2024 that the Mossad had been employing a private Italian intelligence firm to target Meloni and her ministers. I assume that means target in spying, probably not target as in assassinate. But to this day, Mossad continues to carry out operations in Italy. The Italian-Israeli intelligence relationship was most recently highlighted in a bizarre incident in May 2023. And by the way, I barely heard about this. Maybe I read one thing about it, but in 2023, a houseboat capsized in Italy's Lake Maggiore, killing 4 people among the 23 aboard. Though legacy media initially framed the case as a tragic accident at a birthday celebration, it quickly became clear everyone on the boat, bar the captain and his wife, were Israeli and Italian spies. It's one hell of a boat party. The 10 surviving Israelis were hurriedly flown back to Tel Aviv on a military aircraft before they could be questioned by police with the apparent blessing of the Italian authorities. Subsequent investigations suggested the gathering was a joint intelligence operation into Iranian non-conventional weapons capability aimed at either surveilling local industry or wealthy Russians living nearby who were suspected of helping Moscow obtain drones from Tehran. A eulogy for the dead Israeli spy, whom Italian media named as Erez Shimoni, was personally delivered by the Mossad director Barnea, strongly suggesting he was a significant figure at the intelligence agency. While the captain of the ship has since been convicted of negligent homicide, blame the captain, Italy's military police immediately announced they would not be investigating the activities of the spies on board.
Well, sounds good to me. Just a barbecue gone wrong.
Wrapped up. All done. Investigation complete.
Sounds good.
And that is the Mossad involved in an Italian prime minister's assassination that completely changed history.
Oh, Mossad. You guys are so neat.
So surly, you guys.
What you guys are out there doing. All right, let me get this. Hold on.
All right, while you do that, I will tell everyone that we will do a quick extra segment over at patreon.com/government secrets after this. And once you become a member over there for like $5 or $6, you will unlock 80 some, maybe we're up to 90, I don't know, extra segments. So it is a lot of extra content over there the moment you sign up, patreon.com/government secrets.
Yes, and now segment number 2, Operation Barrel Roll. So we've covered a lot of during the Vietnam War and just Southeast Asia and America and the CIA's involvement. And so Laos, there's Operation Barrel Roll. We really haven't gone into this one, but there was a covert interdiction and close air support campaign conducted in the Kingdom of Laos by the United States Air Force 2nd Air Division and U.S. Navy Task Force 77 between March 64 and May of 73, concurrent with the Vietnam War. The operation was launched to persuade North Viet Minh to stop supporting the insurgency in South Vietnam, because Laos borders Vietnam, sort of between Thailand and Vietnam. North Vietnam's main logistical corridor, which ran from southwestern North Vietnam through southeastern Laos and into South Vietnam. The operation also increasingly provided close air support for the Royal Lao Armed Forces, CIA-backed tribal allies, and the Thai Volunteer Defense Corps. So we had every one of these nations. The United States, and mainly CIA. We've talked about this before. Vietnam was mainly the CIA's war, and they were doing all kind of dirty business in all of these Southeast Asian countries. Right?
Can you just do a quick rehashing? Were we the good or the bad guys in this?
We come up as the bad guys. Yeah, as when you scroll through it. Yeah,
hold on. I gotta write that down.
Bad guys.
Laos. What about Vietnam?
Ooh, yeah, really bad over there. We're really on the wrong side of it.
Hold on, I got 2 columns here. Good guys, bad guys.
I got 2 columns. Yeah, so if the CIA was meddling, guaranteed we were the bad guys. This was the Ho Chi Minh Trail. This is one of the things that helped North Vietnam win the war, was the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and so this is something that isn't so after France was defeated by Vietnam, which was like 54 or something like that. Ho Chi Minh knew that eventually he was going to have to fight the Americans, and so he started implementing spies into southern Vietnam and in the government, in the schools, and everything like that. So, and then they used the Ho Chi Minh Trail, was one of the ways they won. And America kind of got aware of this later, and they were trying. So much of this was trying to like upend the Ho Chi Minh Trail and upend the insurgency in South Vietnam, and which was very effective.
Stop supply lines and stuff.
Yeah, stop supply lines, and the insurgency was very effective at destabilizing the South Vietnamese government, which was backed by the United States. So the CIA-backed tribal allies, this is with the Hmong, we've talked about this a little bit, which of course then America just completely abandoned. Tribal allies in the Thai Volunteer Defense Corps in a covert ground war in northern and northeast Laos. Barrel Roll and the Secret Army attempted to stem an increasing tide of the People's Army of Vietnam and the Pathet Lao Offensive. Barrel Roll was one of the most closely held secrets of the American military commitment in Southeast Asia, due to the ostensible neutrality of Laos, guaranteed by the Geneva Conference of 1954 and the Declaration of Neutrality of Laos of 1962. So Laos was like, international courts and laws, we're neutral, and America was like, yeah, but really,
what do you mean by neutral?
I mean,
so here's the thing, you see, we don't respect any international law or anything we've ever agreed to or signed. So would you put this under that category? Because we don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like international law applies to everyone but us. So we just kind of use it as a justification to do awful things, yet we're never held accountable when we abandon it. So it doesn't really count.
Like we'll invade and obliterate a country because they used chemical weapons, but it doesn't really matter whether they did or not. And even if they had, we don't actually care about international law. So why would we care? But if it's useful for us to like kill 1 million people, then we really care. It's very upsetting.
Yeah. And we'll use
weapons.
We use banned weapons too. We just don't talk about it.
Yeah, we also, luckily, it's also not against international law to use chemical weapons on your own people. So we do that a lot. So
yeah. Laos also then had a 9 years civil war that ended in 1975, which is the same year the Vietnam War ended, and it was the most devastated of any other participants in the Vietnam War. Obviously, Vietnam took the brunt of it, but any of the other participants in Asia, Laos suffered the most, and it was because America roped them in. After a series of political and military machinations conducted by the U.S. and part of the Lao government, the Declaration of Neutrality in 1962. That's when American-backed rightists, included provisions that required the removal of all foreign military bases and precluded the use of Lao territory for interfering in international affairs of another country, a blatant effort to shut down North Vietnam's growing logistical. So when America's like, yeah, we support this Geneva Convention. Other countries can't be involved. They're just trying to stop North Vietnam, even though they were then going to go against the convention themselves. So then we get to the covert war. For the Americans, Laos became almost exclusively an air war, a reversal of the role air power played in the conflict in neighboring South Vietnam. In Laos, the United States Air Force applied conventional air power in support of an unconventional ground war. The mission of the Air Force was to seal off the southern Mekong River Valley, thus providing a buffer for Thailand, insulating the Vietnamese government from direct communist threat, draining the North Vietnamese manpower and resources, and the interdiction of the approaches to the Ho Chi Minh Trail. For U.S. interests, the aerial interdiction effort against the trail and the protection of Thailand were preeminent, and they became the reason for the covert war in the Northeast. According to the U.S. Secretary of State in 1964, Dean Rusk, after 64 and the increasing U.S. commitment in South Vietnam, Laos was only the wart on the hog.
Solid analogy.
Originally, the American arrangement in Laos was based on the premise that the situation in South Vietnam would be controlled within a year or two. Yeah, wrap it up. A holding action in Laos was all that was thought necessary. No one expected the conflict would last 10 years.
Could be one of our mottos. No one expected it to last this long.
Whoops, sorry.
Ukraine war, Afghanistan war.
Yeah.
No one thought it would last this long. Genocide in Gaza. No one thought it would last this long.
No,
war on Syria. No one thought it would last this long. War on Yemen. No one thought it would last this long.
What? This also was a part of Operation Rolling Thunder, which we've talked on this show, and Operation Steel Tiger. I don't know if we did that one. But the I
thought that was your gamer name.
that is my gamer name. So the main offenses was 64-70. On December 64, barrel roll was approved. The program originally consisted of 2 U.S. bombing sorties per week. And no more than 4 aircraft in each strike. Most U.S. Strike aircraft flew from bases in Thailand under U.S. agreement. The aircraft had to first fly to South Vietnam, then take off again for Laos. By December, 6 armed reconnaissance missions were being conducted per day, but failed to draw the hoped-for reaction from Hanoi. That was part of them. We've talked about this, just the failed strategy in Vietnam. We'll just bomb them and they'll buckle. No, they didn't.
It hasn't proved true with any of those countries around Vietnam. We'll just bomb them and they'll realize that we're awesome and they'll do what we want.
It didn't work in the 20 years in Afghanistan. I mean, and why do we keep doing it? Because the Defense Department knows how much money they make when they do these just bombing campaigns.
Money and just instability with a lot of these countries. It's like just making sure these countries can't actually be strong. You look at Syria, it's like they're just making sure it's unstable and essentially collapsed. Okay, that's good enough for us. We'd love to have our puppet in there, but this is just chaos and near collapse is good enough.
Yeah. So the Americans were then supporting the Hmong tribe, which is sort of a nomadic tribe that is in a lot of these countries, in Laos and Cambodia and Thailand and Vietnam. So one of the first American activities was support the Hmong had been the establishment of the Lima sites through these airstrips throughout the country. In the early 60s, the number had grown to 200. It quickly became evident that the cyclical pattern of the monsoon weather would dictate the timing and pace of military operations in the Northeast. From November through May, the dry season, North Vietnamese and the Pathet Lao forces advanced out of the Sam Nua province along Route 8 and out of the Bethany Pass through the Ban Ban toward the Plain of Jars. The lack of roads and the primitive state of those did not exist, forced the communities to stretch their lines of communication and counterattack. Continuous U.S. air support for barrel roll operations was provided by the aircraft of the 602nd and 606 Special Operations Squadrons that were based out of Thailand. October 67, they were joined by 22nd Special Operations Squadron. Pre-planned airstrikes in the barrel roll era were rare. Pre-planned were rare. They were just like willy-nilly, fly around and bomb.
Well, and I don't know if this is the case with Laos, but I know with both Vietnam and with Korea, there came moments where like even the U.S. generals were like, we've just obliterated everything. Like there's nothing really of any size to bomb. And they were told, just keep bombing. Just it'll seem scary. It might kill a few people. We've blown up every structure that isn't a 1-story hut. And they're like, well, just start bombing the huts. I don't know what to tell you. Keep dropping bombs. Huh?
bomb the craters where the first bombs came.
Yeah.
This was not working. And as a stopgap, Washington approved Operation Ground Look, which was the first usage of the B-52 Stratoforces bombers in northern Laos. During the first mission on February 18th, 36 bombers delivered over 1,000 tons of bombs. On April 25th, the battered communist forces fell back. A CIA study concluded during the year that about the most positive thing that can be said about Laos is that it still exists as a non-communist state. This is run by General Suvano. He was 69, he was losing his vigor and had no apparent success. I'm sorry, this is the leader of Laos. The seesaw seasonal conflict dragged on, and by the end of each cycle, the balance was somewhat more favorable to the PAVN, the North Vietnamese, than the Lao. Due to the withdrawal of U.S. forces under the policy of Vietnamization from November 1st until 68 until February 73, barrel roll completed for a share of diminishing U.S. tactical assets. In December 68, approximately 700 American strike aircraft had been available in theater. By the spring of 72, that number had fallen to 313. Let's see, where is it? The American command in Saigon and politicians in Washington were opposed to a wet season Hmong offensive, supporting instead a holding action at the edge of the Plain of Jars and a prelude to the possible ceasefire.
See, a thought just entered my head, which is, did they consider bombing the wet season? And then it occurred to me that actually, yes, they did, because the Gulf of Tonkin battle that took place was us firing at rain clouds for 2 hours, thinking they were attacking us, thinking they were enemies attacking us. And so they did bomb the wet season.
Yes.
I don't know how much success they had.
So basically, the conclusion is for 100 months, the Air Force and the CIA and the Thai government had assisted the Royal Lao government in staving off defeat at the hands of its enemies, it basically stopping communism. They conclude barrel roll was a success. According to a 2024 study, the areas of Laos that were bombed more heavily by the United States during the conflict subsequently had persistently worse economic outcomes. Well, that's weird. So, as we've talked about before in Cambodia and even in Vietnam, but Laos too has massive amounts of unexploded ordnance from this bombing.
Yeah.
Massive amounts. Still there today. Obama was the first president to go there and give them some aid and say, I'm sorry, and we're going to try to help.
We're going to do better. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well, Graham, I have to say I learned a lot from this segment. I thought that barrel roll was the sushi roll with the eel on top. So I thought it was that one, and I thought Ho Chi Minh Trail was a style of shaving your pubes. So I've learned a lot from this segment.
Yeah, I thought barrel roll was that song they sing in Wisconsin. Roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel. I thought it was a polka thing. But
I've never heard that, but that's the most disturbing thing I've heard in this hour. So,
oh, buddy, you got to spend some more time in Wisconsin.
All right, we got to run over and do the extra segment. Patreon.com/government secrets. We'll see if we can get it done before I have to dip out early, but we have special segment right now. Patreon.com/government secrets. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We bring you this show twice a month.
Yeah, every 2 weeks. Go to leakcamp.com, grahamelwood.com. Thanks, everybody, for watching. This has been Government Secrets, episode 188, Mossad and the Barrel Roll. Thanks, everybody.